Here's something that you want to understand, okay? This person processing this, the data, because there are thousands and thousands of transactions in the world that happen, right, in that 10-minute span. So what happens is one person could not possibly have enough computing power to process all these transactions that quick. So what happens is this person might here, this processor might group up with this one and this one and this one, and this whole group of people right here is what we call a pool of processors. Okay, this pool of processors will go out there and put all their computers together, okay, and connect them together and make like a super duper giant computer. And what they'll do is they'll process that next block of information. So their computers are running 24 hours a day, processing all these payments, and they're hoping that they get that next block of information before these other groups of people. It's rare. It's extremely, extremely rare that you will find one person processing all these transactions. It's usually in groups, and obviously some groups are bigger, some groups are smaller, right? And there's no rhyme or reason to who is going to get it first. So don't think that the bigger groups the bigger groups have a higher probability, but it doesn't always mean they're going to get the next block, okay? However, as soon, like I said, if one group of people processes and they get the next block to go onto the public ledger here called the blockchain, that person gets that 25 Bitcoin reward. And at this moment, right at this moment, on let me see, on November 23rd, as I'm talking, this 25 Bitcoins is worth $837 a piece. Okay, so if we take 25 Bitcoins times $837, right, that is worth $20,925 US. Okay, so for whichever one of these groups of processors can get the next block of information, so that think about that, that's a huge incentive for someone to go out there and try to process these transactions for everybody. So I mean, there's these thousands of guys just running out there saying, hey man, I'll process your transactions for you, right, in hopes that they'll hit that reward. Now keep in mind that every 10 minutes thousands of these people are processing these Bitcoin transactions from around the world. However, only one group is going to win that reward. It's the first one that gets it correct. Okay? So, how do we know? How does the system know that they get it correct? It's the math is extremely difficult, guys, and with my arithmetic level, I am not qualified to explain to you the mathematics of how they go about going through the history of the blockchain, figuring out who has the money, who doesn't, if it's a legit transaction or not, okay? But let me just do an example real quick for you, right? If you guys remember back in school when we did math, okay, if we try to find the square root of something like 4, it's very simple. It's 2 times 2, right? Now, if we try to find the square root of 5, it's extremely more difficult. It's not something that you can do off the top of your head. You would have to get a calculator to do it, right? And this calculator doesn't. But it's going to be 2 point something. Now, however long, when I did the 4, I could just go 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. Boom, I got it correct, right? Now with 5, I can't do that. I can't just go 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, so it has to be somewhere between 2 and 3, the answer, right? So I can go 2 times 2.1, 2 times 2.2, 2 times 2.3, until ultimately I get the answer to where I know that the square root of 5, right, equals 2 point whatever, okay? Now, it would take me a long time to do that. However, when you go to the double check to make sure I did it correctly, it only takes you a blink of an eye, because all you have to do is multiply the two numbers together and you'll get the answer that comes out to be 5. And if it's correct, then you know that I did it correct. So just think about that. I could take a day trying to figure out, what the square root of 5 is, but it would only take you a brief moment to check it to make sure it was correct. And it's the same way here. When one group here figures out what the next block of information is, it might take this group a long time and lots of computing power. I mean, hundreds of computers or whatever to figure it out. But as soon as they submit that and say, hey man, I got the next block of information here, it only takes a brief moment for all the other guys to double check it to make sure. Because if they disagree on it, well then that person does not get the reward. Okay, so I mean, like I said, this is very non-technical. Okay, if you're watching this and you're a technical person and you're saying, hey Ty, you're not explaining that correct, okay, hey, you know what, don't jump on me, okay? I just told you at the beginning of the video that all I know is arithmetic, okay? So give me a break, okay? So that's how it's worked. Now, one thing that you have not heard me mention, okay, is the word mining or the word miners, okay? Now, this is one of the first things that you hear about when you get into Bitcoin is mining, okay? And it confuses the hell out of people, and I wish that if I had an opportunity to go back to when Satoshi first came out with this system, I would ask him and beg him not to use the word mining because it confuses everybody that tries to learn about Bitcoin, okay? And that's the reason why you never heard me say mining, the word mining until now, and you keep hearing me say the word processing. When you hear people in the news and the media and online and you hear the word mining, replace it with the word processing, okay? So whenever you hear me say that these people are processing all the transactions for everybody, you'll hear a lot of Bitcoin diehard Bitcoin enthusiasts call it mining. That process where your computer is going out there and double checking all the transactions for everybody and processing those transactions, that process in the Bitcoin world is called mining. So these people, these people that I call processors, they're really the technical term for, and remember, I don't want to get technical in these videos because I don't want to confuse people, but the term that people use to refer to these processors is called miners. And each group of these people, right, that processes all these transactions are called mining pools. So basically, it's just a group of people processing transactions, but they want to use a very fancy technical term called mining pools to confuse us public, okay? So that's how, in this video, I hope that answers, several questions of how the blockchain is used to authenticate that the person that you sending me the money is legit and me that I am the correct person that you are sending it to, so it doesn't accidentally go to someone else, okay? And that's not really a new technology because all the software companies use it right now. The emails that I send to you back and forth, they're using this technology. So that's not really new, and that's not something we have to worry about because that's pretty secure and that's pretty tight now, okay? Now, the double spending is the new technology. This blockchain, when Satoshi made this ledger public, this ledger is also called the blockchain, he eliminated the double spending issue, and that was like the biggest issue that people had, that they couldn't invent this new currency, was because no one could figure out how to eliminate that double spending. And double spending, if you remember, is to prevent you from sending me the dollar and then sending it to someone else, because that's not fair. Because if you can do that all day, then you would be the same as the 1% bankers here that only benefit 1% of the population on Wall Street, okay? So in the pseudonymous, instead of using my name or your name, see, like if you wanted to send me some money, you have to tell your bank, oh, I want to send to Ty Zen, he's from prisonofreedom.com, and here's his bank account number, here's ID, driver's license, a bunch of nonsense, okay? In Bitcoin, you just have an account number, which is also called a Bitcoin address, and you just send to me, and boom. Nobody has to. You don't have to know what my name is if I buy a service from you or a product from you, right? I don't have to give you my personal information or none of that nonsense, okay? I just give you this. Send the Bitcoin to your address. You send me whatever it is, and that's it. Deal is done. All right. So, and then the last thing is that the people, the processors who run out there and process all these these Bitcoin transactions, right? Because remember, there's no central bank to process it, so it's been decentralized. Why? Because the government cannot go in there and shut down each one of these people. And you might think like, okay, they can do whatever they want. Well, not exactly, because there's thousands of people and there's no way they're going to go out there and be able to shut down everybody. It's just like the BitTorrent peer-to-peer network, okay? They've been trying to shut it down for years now, and they still haven't been able to do it. And that's what Satoshi modeled his blockchain and the Bitcoin system off of, was the peer-to-peer BitTorrent network, so that he knew that when this succeeds, everybody's, the one percenters that's in power, they don't like to lose their power, they're going to want to try to destroy this. And by decentralizing it and making it so that there's no one central location that all these payments are being processed, right, then you don't have to worry about it, okay? The other thing too is that when you create a Bitcoin account, you know what? Let me go ahead and pause this here and stop this here, and in the next video, I'll talk about the Bitcoin account and the Bitcoin wallets, okay? So let's just stop here, take a break, and then we'll continue on to the next video. Thanks for watching this video about Bitcoin for non-technical people. If you like this video and you want to subscribe to my blog so that you can get future videos, I invite you to go to prisonorfreedom.com/newsletter and subscribe there. And I'll send you some more future videos. You know, I like to talk about things that allows people to find freedom in their health, their wealth, their relationships, things like that. So it's a bunch of good stuff, no spam, no nothing. And thanks for watching this video. If you have a friend that's confused about Bitcoin and this revolutionary technology, please share this video with them, okay? Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.